I hope you had a good Sabbath. Hope you had a good weekend. Happy Monday. Let's get back at it as we continue looking at these miracles in Mark. We're now moving on to Mark chapter 6. And Jesus has been with the disciples. The disciples have been out. They've seen many things. They've also just gotten the news about John the Baptist. And they are distressed. And it says in Mark chapter 6, verse 30, the apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all that they had done and taught. They had heard the news about John the Baptist, and because so many people were following them that they didn't even have a chance to eat, Jesus says, let's get away. Let's go someplace quiet. Come with me, verse 31, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. Yeah, right. That doesn't always happen. Doesn't always happen in ministry, I can tell you. Never mind. So they went away by themselves, it says, verse 32, to a solitary place. But the people saw them, saw where they were going, and when they got there, a large crowd came from all the towns and villages around. And Jesus, when he saw the large crowd, even though he was tired, he wanted to get away, he wanted to have some connect time just with his small group, the disciples. But it says, verse 34, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. Poor, lost people who just don't get it, and he doesn't want to miss an opportunity. And so he began teaching them many things. I mean, wouldn't you love to just sit on a hillside and have Jesus teach you many things? I can't wait. But by this time it was already late in the day. The disciples were already hungry. The people were hungry. Nobody had eaten. The disciples said, Lord, send them away. Send them away so that they can go and get something to eat. And Jesus said, you feed them. What are you talking about? You give them something to eat. They said, well, first of all, that would take 8 months' wages. How are we supposed to go and spend that much on bread and give them something to eat? I mean, what are you talking about? Jesus said, how many loaves do you have? How much bread do you have? What are your resources? And when they found out, they said, we've got 5 loaves and 2 fish. Jesus said, tell everybody to sit down. Tell them to sit down and wait. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. And Jesus took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and he looked up toward heaven, and he said, thank you, Father, for the abundance that you have given us. And then he gave the bread and the fish to the disciples, and they set it before the people. He divided the 2 fish, and they all ate and were satisfied. So far, okay. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. They started with 5 loaves and 2 fish. Now they've got 12 baskets full of leftovers, and the number of the men who had eaten was 5,000. Wow. I mean, it's impossible, right? It's impossible when you're limited by your understanding of molecules and particles and resources. But when you put it in God's hands and he looks up to heaven and gives thanks, look out. Because not only is there going to be enough, You better have a bunch of baskets ready because there's going to be leftovers. What do you have? Moses, what's that in your hand? Well, it's just a stick. Well, give it to me. I can do mighty things. I can part waters. I can bring water out of rock. I can do all kinds of things if you give it to me. What do you have? Just a broken body? Broken physically? With age? Yeah, mine's certainly getting there. My back's no good. So on, so on. Jesus says, give it to me. A broken, aging body or a broken, distressed spirit, if you give it to me, just watch what I can do. And I can do so much through you that there will be power left over. Give yourself to God again this morning. Let him make you his instrument. Let him make you his resources as you are his. Give it to him. Wonderful stories, wonderful miracles. We're going to get to the greatest miracle of all soon. Until then, God bless.